start building an item bank assessment or even start building items in the item bank or passages, we have to talk about how all this stuff works. All right, so there's a very specific order in which you have to do things in Mastery Connect, and it all starts with the passages. If you are going to create an item that uses a passage, you have to have the passage created first. Now, a passage in Mastery Connect is anything that you're adding to a question beyond the text of the question itself, and that could include a reading passage, but it could also be a political cartoon, a map, a chart, table, graph, anything, right? All of those things are passages. Those have to be made first. And once they are created, then you can create a question that will use them, okay? So once you create all of your questions and you have all those done, then you can create the item bank assessment. So very specific order that everything works in. Now, the next thing you need to know is that there's multiple banks in Mastery Connect. And you'll notice that there's one with your name on it, and there's also a Frisco ISD teacher bank. You might have wondered, where do those questions come from in the Frisco ISD teacher bank? The answer is you, because every time you make a question in your bank, it is also added to the Frisco ISD teacher bank. That's to share the wealth so that hopefully all of us have to work a little less hard and we can all make quality questions that each other can use in our assessments, okay? But that has some implications. So for example, if you are making like practice questions in your bank, just to see how all this operates, you're going to want to go delete them. I have some work to do in this area. We don't want to junk up that teacher bank, right? So we want to get rid of all the fluffy. Anything that is incorrect, you want to make sure you get out of there. And you want to make sure that you're creating high quality questions because they're all being shared across the district. Now, in addition, you want to name them in such a way that your cohorts can find the questions that you're writing, right? So be really thoughtful about that naming, that the names that you're giving those, because we want people to be able to use and find those questions. So the next thing that I want to talk about is that items in the item bank are not able to be edited once they're created. And that's a big deal. Once you create it, you go through that process. The last step is to hit publish. And before you hit publish, you're going to get a warning that says, this is it. You can't change it anymore. And that is really a concern. You need to make sure that it's high quality and exactly what you want, because at this point, if I needed to change a spelling of one of these words or something, I couldn't edit it. The only option for me now is to hit clone and then change the cloned version and delete the old one. And of course, I have to delete the old one so that I'm not junking up the Frisco ISD teacher bank with bad stuff, right? Now you'll notice not everything can be changed. There are certain things up here, the standard, for example, the class, the core, the subject, that cannot be changed. So if any of those were wrong, I'm going to have to trash my old question and just start over. Now, what's really interesting is that can't be changed at all, but the passages are almost completely opposite, and they can be changed forever and ever. Even after people have taken an assessment that uses that item or that has that passage in it, still that passage can be edited. So you want to be really careful about that, but I'll show you, once I click on a passage, it will tell me what items that passage is being used in. And if I were to see something that I didn't recognize here, that maybe another teacher had created, I would be really hesitant to make any changes, any big changes. Now, if it's a spelling error, I'm going to change it as soon as possible. But anything bigger, I'm going to leave it alone because I don't want to mess up somebody else's assessment. Okay. And I think now you're ready to start creating these passages and creating items. And then we'll move on to creating an item bank assessment. See you then.